Every day, millions of service members around the world raise their right hand to their brow. It takes less than a second. They do it without thinking. It is the most universally recognized symbol of military life, but no one knows exactly where it came from. One popular story takes us back to the Middle Ages, to knights in full-plate armor. When one knight approached another, he would raise his visor with his right hand to show his face. It was a gesture of trust. This is who I am not afraid, and I am not here to kill you. The raised visor also showed that his weapon hand was empty, but that's just one theory, and it might be a little too romantic. Another theory is far less dramatic but probably more accurate. It involves hats. Specifically, the impractical, oversized, and expensive hats of the 18th and 19th centuries. Somewhere along the way, the act of removing your hat to a superior became the act of simply touching it. And that motion stuck. Let's deal with the Roman myth first. You will hear people call the straight-arm fascist salute Roman. That is a lie. The straight-arm salute we associate with fascism was not Roman at all, it was Hollywood. In the early 20th century, epic films about ancient Rome needed a dramatic gesture, so they invented one. Directors and playwrights borrowed it from Jacques-Louis David's 18th century painting, The Oath of the Hirashi, where the gesture was an oath, not a greeting. The fascists and Nazis then adopted it from the movies, not from history. Actual Roman art shows soldiers greeting their commanders with their right hands raised, but the elbow is bent, the palm is loose. It is a greeting, not a straight-arm thrust. So, we can set the Romans aside. You know, the knight story is more appealing. A knight in armor was honestly a terrifying sight. I mean, you couldn't tell friend from foe until you got close. Raising the visor was actually a moment of vulnerability. Medieval visors often had a small spike or protrusion, specifically so the wearer could flip it up with his right hand. It was practical, really. You couldn't do it with your left hand while holding a lance. The problem is that knights didn't ride around with their visors down all the time. Visors were closed only in combat. So, the theory requires a very specific scenario. Two heavily armed men meeting on a battlefield, lowering their weapons, and politely identifying themselves. It is possible the gesture filtered down, but actually, the more direct line comes from civilian etiquette. For centuries, removing your hat was the standard way to show respect to a social superior. Armies formalized this. A soldier would stop, face the officer, and remove his hat. But by the mid-18th century, headgear had changed. Hats got taller, they got heavier, they got plumes and ornamentation. Taking one off constantly became, well, pretty impractical. In 1745, a British order book recorded the change. The men are ordered not to pull off their hats when they pass an officer, but only to clap up their hands to their hats and bow as they pass. This was the transition. Instead of removing the hat, you simply touched it. It was faster. It preserved the headgear, and it kept the principle of respect intact. Meanwhile, the navies developed their own variation. Sailors' hands were often filthy from working with tar and rope. Showing a dirty palm to an officer was considered disrespectful. So, the naval salute evolved with the palm facing downward, hiding the grime. There is a persistent story that Queen Victoria herself insisted on this after being saluted by a sailor with a dirty hand. The truth is murkier, but the tradition stuck. The American colonies inherited British military traditions. After independence, the new United States kept the customs it knew. The United States Navy adopted the British naval salute, palm down. The United States Army, coming from the British Army tradition, originally saluted with palm out. But, you know, over time, the services converged. By the 20th century, the United States military standard had become the palm-down salute for all branches. It is crisp. It is uniform. It hides nothing and shows everything. Today, the United States military's salute is codified. The hand is raised sharply until the tip of the middle finger touches the corner of the right eyebrow. The palm faces down, the wrist and hand are in a straight line. Contrast that with the French salute, palm facing forward, a remnant of their own hat-doffing tradition. Or the British Army, also palm out. The British are interesting. The Army and Royal Air Force salute with the palm facing outward. The Royal Navy salutes with the palm down, the same as the Americans. There is one exception in United States protocol. The senior officer initiates the salute for recipients of the Medal of Honor, regardless of the recipient's rank. It is the only time a superior salutes a subordinate first. And honestly, there is a rule that surprises many civilians. In most modern militaries, you do not salute indoors, and you do not salute without a hat. If you are not wearing a cover, you simply stand at attention. The salute has survived centuries of change. It has outlasted armor, tricorn hats, and sailing ships. It has crossed borders and languages. At its core, it is not about the hat. It is not about the hand position. It is a sign that two people share something. They have both accepted the same obligations. The junior salutes the senior's rank and authority. The senior returns the salute, acknowledging the junior's willingness to serve. It is a contract, renewed thousands of times a day. A sloppy salute is worse than no salute at all. It signals a lack of pride, a lack of discipline. A sharp salute says everything about the soldier and nothing about the officer. From a knight in chainmail lifting a slab of steel to see a friend, to a sailor hiding tar-stained fingers from the Queen, to a recruit on a parade ground in 2026, the gesture endures. We salute because it is the quickest way to say, without words, I see you, I respect you, and we are in this together. Subscribe to War Machiner and share this if you value history that goes deeper.